This is Boxing Tickets NI in association with that prize guy. We're here at the MHD Promotions Gym. Delighted to be joined by Belfast's newest professional boxer, Kyle Smith. It's been a long time coming. I think we've tweeted over this for quite a few years, and on the day that it was coming, you've had a couple of weeks to sort of digest it now.
Yeah.
How are you feeling now? You're a professional boxer.
Still doesn't feel real, to be honest, so it doesn't, but no, I'm just doing what I always do. I'm training hard, and then I get to show for it here on the 13th. I get to show the hard work.
It's sort of, I guess I sort of knew prior to the announcement it was sort of coming, but probably didn't expect maybe you'd be making your professional debut in crocker donovan. I thought when you were announced there was word of obviously Mark potentially doing a show in October, and I sort of said you can be on the October show, and I guess at that stage you can't say what's going on, but what a place to make your professional debut, Windsor Park.
Windsor Park, yeah, amazing.
You'd have probably looked at it as one day down the line fighting in Windsor Park rather than making your professional debut. Like, where can you go from there?
I know it's gonna be hard to top that after, but no, I'm a Northern Ireland football fan, so I've always usually in Windsor watching Northern Ireland play, so to be fighting there on my own fight, it's a dream, like, so it is. But no, it's going to be a crazy event. It's going to be the rest of the cards stacked, so it is. Load of good fights on it as well, but and even the first Irish history as well, I suppose, for the two Irish fighters fighting for the world title.
We'll come back to that, I guess, in a bit. Obviously, as I always like to do with everybody, I've sort of grown up sort of following, well, you've grown up with me following your sort of career, obviously, on social media and things, but for you, Kyle, what first got you involved in boxing? Was there anything in the family? Like, obviously, I know your dad's a big part of your team and stuff now. Was there anybody in the family previous to yourself?
No, boxing's wasn't really a big... My daddy was always into boxing, but he wasn't really... He's more into his... He was a mechanic, you see, so he's more into his cars and stuff. But no, I tried the football and tried a few different team sports. I tried a wee pit bike when I was younger as well, but I just never really clicked on to that. But I started boxing because I was hyper when I was a kid. So, and then I think it was the summer of the 2012 Olympics, and it was Paddy. We were watching Paddy. We were staying in the hotel down in Drogheda, and we seen Paddy was fighting on it, and we ended up watching Paddy's fight. And I remember just taking a good liking for the boxing after, and then Daddy went up to one of the wee local shops up the road and got a pair of pads and gloves. But I was that young. I remember I didn't even know he had the right names on the pads. One was like Bob and Jim or something. So when I was starting to do pads with him, he was shouting Bob and Jim. That's
Was that because you didn't know your left and your right?
I didn't know my left and right still at that stage, so I was that young. And then it sort of took on from there. I was training, me and him, there's videos on YouTube when I was 6, wearing a wee Parry the Platypus t-shirt and all, hitting the pads, and then about 6 months later, I convinced them to take me to the local gym up in Glengormley or so did, 'cause that's where I'm from. So
like at the age of 6 and you just turned 18, so like it's still relatively new to you in the fact that you're still very, very young.
Yeah,
so
no.
It's not like for some people they turn pro in their 20s and they're having to think back quite a lot. It's still very fresh in the head for you.
Yeah, no, I'm still young, I'm still maturing. I haven't even had a professional fight yet. I'm a novice pro, so I've a lot to learn. I have to learn my craft, and I'm in the best company for it now with training with Dan and Mark guiding me along the way, so I'm not going to be rushed anyway. I've got times on my side. I'm only 19, so I've a lot to learn. I'm still getting more mature. I'm still physically mature and mentally maturing, and then I'm in no rush. So I'll just keep just building my career now, more or less.
So like first, I guess starting at the age of 6, probably at that stage you can't fight competitively.
No.
When did you have your first exhibition sort of fight?
I had my first exhibition when I was 7. I was up in it was Toon Boxing Club at the time. I remember it was like a world title fight for me, but I remember it was maybe like the fight was on the Friday night and I found out on the Wednesday. I remember just going into because I think I must have been about P1 or P2, telling all my mates and all, fighting here on Friday, and then I was thinking I thought I was called Frampton getting in the ring, but no, there must have been about 200 people there, and I threw one punch the whole 3 rounds, but no, I always remember it. Got a wee bronze medal after. I remember bringing it into school and all, showing it off to the mates. But after that, it was more addictive to me. I was like, oh, you seen the wee reward after it. My daddy, he gave me a few quid after the fight as well, and then a few other of the family gave me a bit of money after. So after that, really, I sort of then I was fighting in more exhibitions up. I used to fight. So obviously I was boxing for Glencoe only, but they always had club shows on in the GAA club up a High Town Road, and I think it's St Edmunds. So I used to always fight in there, and it's good wee atmosphere like as a kid as well. You're looking up to the older ones fighting on it as well, so it was good ones.
Like the early days, you know, I guess for anybody, you know, obviously there'll be maybe somebody who watch this, and obviously it's very young, and like them first couple of years where you're falling in love with the sport, but you're not able to fight competitively. Like, was there times along that where you were sort of thinking, you know, is boxing for me? Were you still sort of trying other sports at the same time and going, you know, is boxing really the thing for me? They're not letting me fight, you know, and then you're probably coming and going, Daddy, they're not letting me fight here, you know.
No.
Probably didn't understand it to the fact until you get
that. No, because when I was younger, I would have been maybe 7 or 8, and I was sparring 11-year-olds and 12-year-olds that were competing. So no, it was sort of always I would have been sparring 11-year-olds fighting maybe in the interims and within a few weeks, and I was handling them well. So, and then I was looking at how they were getting on in if they maybe won the interims and qualified for Dublin. But then I was maybe handling myself and sparring them, so I was then putting my own mindset in that. Right, well, that's right. At 7 or 8, I could be down in Dublin here. But no, it was always just that was the next ambition I had. I had a wee countdown all in my room, writing what age I was and how many days and hours until I could compete. But yeah, and then I competed. I think the first fight was in the threes, the under threes. So that was a good fight.
Were you sort of, when you couldn't fight and you were seeing maybe somebody go down there or winning a, you know, the interims or winning the Ulsters or winning the All Irelands, were you sort of looking at and going, well, I beat you up in sparring, so I'm technically the champion?
No, I wasn't really looking at that. I wasn't really beating anyone up. But no, it was always just, like, I was mentally myself, I was like comparing, I was like, right. But I was a bit of a confidence booster in, maybe going into the boy one, you're like, right, I've sparred people that have been in similar shoes a few years back, and I'll know I'll not be, because obviously a boy one, you don't really know who anyone is anyway, and the younger years you'd be going into a fight and you'll be 16 at the weight and you've never heard anyone. But no, I was always confident in my ability. You've
grown up obviously around boxing, like I think somebody, I think was it Colin had said last week, like you remember you in John Breen's gym at like 10 or 11 years of age when Marco and stuff like that was there. Like, it's always been your dream from an early age to be a professional rather than be an Olympian. You know, Paddy Barnes being the influence starting off. Like, where did it change from Olympian to professional?
I was always boxing mad, so I was. But from when I was younger, I was watching. I was around professionals and Johns, you see. So I want to say Jamie and Marco as well. But I was watching. Frampton was a big influence as well, so he was always selling out the Odyssey, the SSE, and you were watching Jamie and Marco would have been fighting on the waterfront, and Farrell and loads, so we would have been training on the Saturday morning down with John, and John was going later on to be in our corner for the fights at the waterfront. So just boxing, I was just boxing mad, so I was. But and as I got older, the older I got, the more I was swaying more to the professional side of the game. But then I was fighting at a high level in the amateurs as well, but it was always professional boxing. Like, it was always a...
I think when you're growing up around so many professional boxers and seeing people like Jamie Conlan and Marco and even having idols like Frampton and Paddy Barnes and stuff, it was always going to be, you were always going to look more to... I guess that's hard for a lot of young boxers now because they look at pros as the inspiration, you know, and being that rather than, you know, 2012 of being the Katie Taylor or the Kelly Harringtons or Paddy Barnes or Michael Conlan from the Olympics. So people now look to professionals rather than amateurs as their inspiration.
It's maybe due to the exposure. Professional boxing probably gets a lot more than amateur boxing, so it would, especially in the UK. But no, being a high level amateur boxer it's amazing as well, know what I mean? Like them Olympians and the training camps they have to go on and the be in the Commonwealth Games team, that's still a huge achievement, so it is for anyone that's done it or going to do it.
Talk to me obviously about your amateur career. Obviously, how many fights did you have? Like, I guess sometimes box rec can be wrong. You're probably...
I think I had about COVID stopped a lot of it, you see. But I maybe had probably about 50 in Ireland and everywhere else across. But I had probably about 80 no contests before I could compete. But no, COVID sort of stopped a lot of it because we weren't really fighting much. And then by the time COVID came, I was doing my GCSEs in school. So I was sort of took a wee, not a back step from boxing, but I was still training away, but I wasn't in the right. You can't be sitting an exam on the Monday morning if you're competing down in Dublin on the Saturday. So but boxing was always like I was always focused on boxing, but sort of you couldn't be at the club 5 nights a week training, and you have to be doing a bit for revision. But I was exams and COVID stopped a lot. I probably could have had about 100 if COVID and whatnot didn't happen.
So a lot more exhibitions, obviously, in the lead up to becoming an amateur boxer rather than amateur fights leading into professional boxing. Talk to me obviously about success, obviously what you've achieved as an amateur, obviously how that's probably part of the footprint of you moving forward.
Yeah, so I've 3 national titles. That was during the juvenile level, and then I've won everything. I've only been beaten Ireland once. I was beating the boy 1 final at 38 kilo or something, or 39 kilo I think it was, and then I've sort of won everything I've entered and up north and south, like, so I've multiple All-Star, and then as a senior then I boxed first time as a senior I think it was last May. I won the anto, it was like the senior opens, and then I fought in January in the All-Star Leagues. That was the big one. That was the sort of towards the end of last year. That was right. We're gonna go and make a stab at it, because obviously I hadn't fought as an elite boxer yet. So that was sort of the final thing I wanted to do, was win an elite championship, no matter if it was the Ulsters or the Nationals. And then shortly after that, I was told I was fighting in America, in Florida. So then after that, I was already back into the training for that.
At what stage then, I guess did the discussion sort of change on, was it always to do the first year as a senior and then go pro? Like, how long has this been in your head that you were turning pro? Did you ever think at 19 years of age you were going to turn pro, or did, I guess sometimes just someone comes to you and goes, you could be a good pro, and then the next thing it's
no, so it was never in the back of my mind. Listen, I always had ambitions of being a professional, but maybe not this young. I remember me and my daddy, I would have been about, it was during the lockdown, I would have been about 14. I remember I was doing his hair at night time, constantly just weighing him up and doing whatever. But I remember probably 22, I think it would have been ideal. But I've had a bit of senior experience now. I've always been sparring as well. I know sparring and fighting's different, but I've always, from the age of really 15, I've been sparring men as well, from all weights, and then so I've got a bit of experience and I can hold my own against that. So I thought more 19 was probably ideal in my head now. So it was
When did you move to Holy Trinity then? Holy Trinity, was that after COVID? When did
No, I joined Holy Trinity when I was 11. So I think I was starting boy 2. I would have been about 11 or 12. I joined Holy Trinity, so that, and then boxed there for the rest of my amateur career.
How did you find the difference between gyms? Obviously from one gym to another. Like sometimes, obviously everybody knows of Holy Trinity all over Ireland, but how did you find the difference of changing gyms, particularly being a young boxer?
No, so I was only young, but I had all my mates as well in Glengorny. Glengorny's a brilliant club, brilliant amateur club. It was close to my house as well. But no, brilliant memories and training in Glengorny. But when I was about 12, I would have sparred up in Holy Trinity when I was boxing for Glengorny, and I remember just going up and I remember doing a sparred Paddy Mullen and Keary, and I remember after I didn't really spar great, because I remember just going into the gym and everything was there. You've got the balcony up the stairs, and then I remember after Mickey took me in the pads. I'd done about 3 or 4 rounds with Mickey in the pads after. I just remember coming out after, and I remember it was class. And sort of boy 2, and they had loads of great, they still do, but they've loads of great fighters at the gym at the time. Yet Sean was still amateur at the time, Caoimhin and Barry McGranels, they were people I was looking up to, even though I wasn't boxing for them. But I was looking up. I was like, oh, class. I remember watching Barry fighting in the Ulsters. He was stopping boys in 10 seconds with body shots, and you're just sitting there and you're amazed by it, like, so you are. But I was sort of the final thing. I was like, oh, Holy Trinity was the club.
Fair to say you were probably starstruck then, because I guess anybody sort of walking into Holy Trinity for the first time,
Yeah.
seeing all the memories around the walls, like I think it's going over 50 years now, and so much success in the years. When you go in there and you see all that history, you're just going, wow.
Yeah, the history of the club, like, and it's like a family. Your mate there, he treats you like you're his own son. You know what I mean? He's no, it's a brilliant atmosphere. Holy Trinity, so it is, and it's a second home.
Like, I guess in some ways it's probably very easy for you sort of growing up. Like a lot of success in Irish boxing's come during your sort of time as coming into the coming in starting as an amateur boxer. You think 2016, 2017, sort of maybe even before that. 2012 probably even for a good example from the Olympics.
Yeah, Michael getting bronze as well was good. Especially he was young. What was he, 22 was he? He was young.
He might have been. Was he now 33? So he'd have been. He might have been 19. The first Olympics.
He would have been. He was very young, I remember as well. But yeah, no, loads of inspiration. Then you've seen people from, especially Belfast, is a big boxing city, and yeah, there was a lot of inspiration there. So there was, as a young boxer looking up in the amateur ranks and then in the professional ranks, we were blessed with the amount of talent.
Does that help you or does it hinder you in some ways where you see so much success? Sometimes obviously, it can sidetrack you from your own dreams and aspirations, but when you're seeing Frampton becoming world champion, 2-week world champion, seeing Ryan Burnett, seeing cacace obviously is a big man in the Holy Trinity, when you're seeing all that success, does it help you stay on track with your dreams or does it?
Oh yeah, no, it's better. It's motivation. You know what I mean? You're seeing these lads that local guys, and they just show what hard work and dedication and talent they've showed it and what they can do. Like, and even Anto in recent times, look what Anto's been doing. You know what I mean? He's been beating multiple world champions now, and he's doing it in the latter stages of his career. But he's been dedicated through, and he trains hard and works hard. So he's being rewarded for it now. Delighted for him, like. So yeah, it's been. You see him in the club as well. When I would have been training the Holy Trinity, you're just sitting in the bag, and Anto's finishing up a session, and you're just seeing him like he's going to Riyadh. Right, you know what I mean? He's fighting when he was fighting Joe Cordina. I remember he was sparring loads of lads in the club as well. You know what I mean? He's maybe doing 15 rounds, but everyone's doing a round with him. He's still fresh the days after. You can see the experience and all he has.
Is it good in some ways where you see somebody like Anto and probably even Frampton and Burnett and stuff like that as well, like success didn't change them as a person, they still stayed grounded to who they are?
Yeah, no, that's a big thing. Especially, I think it's more like a thing in Belfast as well, just the way people are. But you have to, success or anything shouldn't really change anyone. You know what I mean? But like Frampton, you talk to Frampton, he's a normal guy. Like.
How's it going, mate?
I know, that's what I mean. He's a normal guy. Anto's a normal guy, and them lads are just normal people. You know what I mean? They're just very, very. Plenty of money about them anyway.
I think Anto says he's still got no money.
Oh, aye.
Talk to me obviously about how the link up came first of all with obviously Mark Dunlop. Like obviously I think it's been in planning for a few months. How did that come? Was it you approached Mark? Was it Mark approached you? How did that sort of come together?
I think Hugh Halloran was throwing a few words in for me it was maybe after the elites. So yes, but I've knew Hugh a lot. Like must have met Hugh. I was when Ian McGill was still they were Belfast boxers. I think maybe I was during at John Breen's, so I was maybe 8 or 9, and then Eamon's always sort of when I would have been fighting Eamon would always been getting me on like on the live and all, and sort of boosting me a bit. But I think Eamon was throwing a few words to Mark about me, and then I think Eamon gave Mark the daddy's number, and then from there they sort of just talking, and then me and Mark and we met up, and I liked what he was saying, and I felt he was best. I didn't speak to anyone else really, but I felt Mark was saying the right things, and I liked what he's done with other boxers as well. So that was the main interest.
I was going to say there, obviously you've seen a lot of. I think Mark's been doing shows for 10 or 11 years now. you've seen obviously a lot of success he's had with fighters like Tommy McCarthy, James Tennyson, Paul Hyland, Colin Murphy, Conor Quinn. Like you've seen all the success there. It's not like someone's going, oh, I've had this fighter, I've had this fighter. You've seen him getting people opportunities on big cards, so that'd have been a big influence for you.
Yeah, definitely, and Mark's smart as well. You know what I mean? He's a very good matchmaker, and he's good at building fighters, especially because I'm so young as well. You don't want to be getting into big fights when you don't need them yet. You know what I mean? So I'm only 19, so I've got a few years of maybe 2-3 years of maturing as a professional fighter, learning my craft. That's what I mean. When I'm fighting, you're not going out, you're not trying to knock people out in the first round, and you're going in to learn your craft. That's amateur boxing and professional boxing. It's a different game altogether. So, and Mark, I think, will be best for my career doing that. So he will.
Do you look at sort of the success with obviously Colin, at sort of the building stage, and obviously getting them on the platforms is probably the perfect example for you?
Even Colin, Colin's record speaks for itself now as well. He's flying. He's hopefully fighting for a British title shortly as well. You know what I mean? And he's been doing amazing. He trains hard. He works hard. So he's being rewarded for it now.
And obviously here in the MHD Promotions Gym with Boyle, obviously I heard the session before even seeing the session in here a couple of weeks ago. How is that sort of relationship building? Obviously Dan.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, no, Dan will get you fit anyway, so he will definitely. No, I'm loving training, like, so it's brilliant. Dan showed me a new aspect of the game as well. As I sort of was hit like on the back foot for amateur, but I could fight coming forward, but I'm learning them subtle details now that I'm adding to my game, and I feel it will make me the best that I can be at the minute.
Do you feel like you're sort of, you've been, maybe Dan saying to you, forget everything you've done, like you have the fights, but it's a totally different game now, professional boxing, that everything completely changes?
Yeah, everything doesn't have to completely change. The boxing ability, I'll always have my boxing ability, but it's just fine tuning them things now, so it is. So, no, we're working hard. We're working on a lot of things, and we're 13th of September. We'll showcase a few of them, hopefully.
It leads me on obviously to the 13th September. I know we sort of touched on it at the start. Like you were obviously at the press conference for Crocker Donovan too. At that stage, you still weren't sure it was sort of happening. Like, were you sitting there as a sort of fan, or were you sort of going, because I know you met Eddie Hearn that day and things like that as well. Were you sort of going, I'm here as a fan, or were you sort of going, please just get me on this card?
No, I was bit in between there, to be honest. But no, I was a fan. I was at the first fight with Crocker and Donovan in the SSA. I was there in March, but you'd be crazy not to want to get. I think it was 290 boxers. I think was applied to try and get on the card. So it's a privilege to be part of it. I think 10 fights on the card. Yeah. 10 good fights on the card. So I feel honoured to be on the card, and I'm training hard, and I'm gonna showcase a good performance hopefully on it.
Sometimes people like they sort of have the lower profile thing. Like obviously we know a lot of probably what Mark will do building wise for you will be, the Europa Hotel, Girdwood, which are great for building you because it builds you a really good platform and fan base. Obviously, and you get the big opportunities. In some ways it might be harder for you because you're going to go from selling loads of tickets then to go to people, here, come to my next fight in the Europa Hotel, and they're going, why would we go there? We want the big occasions. But that's, I guess you sort of, it's a good showcase for you to get into professional boxing, and it's like, right, well now we have to go back and learn our craft and our trade.
Yeah, no, it's an amazing fan to be part of, but at the end of the day, like, it doesn't really matter, not the same, but it doesn't really matter where I fight, you know what I mean? It's, as soon as if there's a ring or there's an opponent, that's, no matter how big the occasion, you can't let it get to you. So it's obviously a cracking venue to make a debut, but I've got a job to do, so I just have to go in and do it anytime I step in the ring. But I'm buzzing, like, I can't wait to get the first one out of the way.
Depending on when you get your fight, like you probably wouldn't even mind being on first in the card, because then you can get washed, get changed, get something to eat, and then go back as a fan and watch the rest of the night.
I know, no, it doesn't really matter, to be honest, when you're on or whatever. I'll be focused and ready for the job at hand, no matter whenever or wherever. I'm on the night. But no, I'm excited. I'm just glad to good to get the first one out of the way. You know what I mean? Get to just learn. It's a new game now, so I'm intrigued to see what else. 'Cause obviously, you'll have the pre-fight week. You'll have the the weigh-in. You'll have it'll be busy, like, so it's a whole new experience to me now. So
It's one you're relishing at the same time.
what is it?
One you're relishing at the same time.
Know what I mean. I'll enjoy it as well. You can't be too serious where you're worrying about everything, but no, I'll be enjoying it as well. So
A lot of people's obviously talking up, obviously, and I know Mark's talked it up, obviously, in your promo and stuff like that. They're talking up the ability you have, the talent that you have, we can go and achieve great things. For you, I guess in some ways, probably some of that's great, but is it probably down to your parents and close friends, stuff like that, to keep you grounded so you probably don't get ahead of yourself too much?
no, not, I know myself. You know what I mean? I'm not like brilliant. You have to brilliant getting all the exposure and whatever else, but you have to back it up. You know what I mean? But no, if you see people maybe let it get them, then they're maybe not training as hard and whatever. But I'm a boxer. I'm not a. You know what I mean? I have a job to do, so I go in anytime I step in the ring. I've put a performance on. That's all. That's my job to do. So anything else other than that is it's great. And whatever else, and nice words. Carl saying a few nice words, and well, it's good exposure. But you have to keep yourself grounded. You know what I mean? As well, you have to but yeah, that's it.
I'm guessing obviously September 13th, you know, two Holy Trinity men sort of main and co-main event. Obviously Lewis with rematch with Paddy for the IBF World Title, the first all-Irish World Title fight in history.
Yeah.
Keevan Agyarko obviously fighting Ishmael Davis in the card.
Yeah.
Like, it's a big night for former Holy Trinity fighters as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy night, so it is, and Keevan some pup. So yes, that'll be a good fight, so it will. But I think Keevan will do the job, like, and even for the main event as well, it'll be another cracker.
I guess for you, first and foremost, as a fighter coming through, you obviously want Lewis to win, not only because he's obviously a former Holy Trinity fighter and a fellow Belfast fighter, but obviously it helps you with opportunities moving forward, because you've seen the effects of Frampton and mccullough in the past of how they can bring the next level of fighters through.
Yeah, even like in Burnett as well there. He was the last, wasn't he, for matchroom to come over before the card there recently. But no, even with Lewis winning and obviously if Keevan wins, that sets him up for bigger fights as well. So no, you need that. That's what the young up and coming boxers. It's good to showcase that they can get on big shows and they can showcase what they're made of. But no, it's brilliant, and it's no, I wish Lewis and Keevan best of luck for the fights as well.
I seen Mark obviously got purchase of your tickets the other day. Quite a large stack of tickets. How many tickets was ordered for Crocker Donovan from yourself?
I think it was 300, but they're all gone.
They're all gone already?
They're all gone, aye. So they're all gone, but just a few to deliver and all now. But that's sort of mentality dealing with that, just because mentality and Mark, he's been doing a bit as well. But I'm just focused on training, not really letting outside noise or anything get in. I'm in training camp now, so I've a job to do on the 13th. So that's all my mind's on at the moment.
Is it a good thing for you in some ways? Because like I've seen firsthand, obviously, you know, people having to go out doing tickets in the evening and stuff when they've been working or training and everything else. Like, were you having Mark and your dad taking care of the tickets and them all going out the road?
Yeah.
That's one less thing for you to worry about as a boxer.
Yeah, I know. Mark and my daddy, he does a lot as well. Maybe a lot behind the scenes as well. My daddy, he has my best interest, him and Mark. So he's been looking after me. So he has. But yeah, no, it's handy enough that you're not running about like a blue arse fly chasing people for tickets and money. But no, that's most of them out of the way now, so I can get back to just training now.
I guess in some ways sometimes you say give me more tickets, but it looks like the tickets are all nearly gone completely, so it's not even.
Yeah, he said 15,000 or something last week, and then it'll be a sellout like anyway, 22,000. So it'll be a cracker night. It'll not be 22.
Windsor card.
Frampton, no. I wasn't at it. No, I watched it in the house. So we watched it because when Frampton usually fought, we all would have got the family around to see. Daddy, he loves his big TVs to see, as a movie screen more or less, in the living room. But we always used to bring the family around for Frampton fights, even when he was fighting in America for Santa Cruz, and we always would have sat up and had a wee like party night as such. And yeah, but no, I wish I went to it, just especially now to sort of see what it was like. But I remember watching this ring walk and all for it, and it looked the part like. But
I think anybody's memories that were there on the night was just they were soaked. Like,
yeah, I remember
think there was
that
even
actually.
there was a ball morning and stuff afterwards, and people were all directed one way, and they were nearly knee height, the water outside. You know, so in some ways probably it's a memory not to have, because you'd think I'm going to get soaked.
I know. Well, it's Belfast weather, isn't it? Yeah, and not be all seasons and all one day. But I know, I think that was the case for the slipway as well, wasn't it? People complain about being cold, but who cares when you're fighting, like. But there'll not be 22,000 people when I'm fighting anyway, so I'll be one of the fans after. So well, but no, it's gonna be a cracker night, so it's gonna be good atmosphere.
For anybody that hasn't seen you box, Kyle, or you know, as an amateur and things like that, what sort of style do you have? What can people expect of you as you start to blossom as a professional boxer? It's a tough one, isn't it? Sometimes it's hard to
I know, but it depends who you're fighting and all as well. So I can fight in the back foot, I'm good, but then I can be sort of an aggressive counter puncher to shorten it down. And good in the back foot, just getting my shots off and training. But obviously in amateur boxing, you're wearing big gloves, you're wearing big 10-ounce gloves, or 12-ounce actually I was fighting in. And you're not really hurting people, but I can bang as well, and I can come forward, but just I try to be a perfectionist in boxing. I don't like to waste shots. I don't like to get hit. Well, I do like being hit, but
I'd rather not.
I'd rather not. I'd rather hit them more times than they hit me. I don't like to make fights scrappier than them, but that's the way I would describe it.
And obviously, finally, before I let you go, because I know obviously Dan's probably going to kick me out here in a minute now because you're supposed to do the session, but obviously sponsors are obviously a vital part of coming through in the professional scene. I guess you probably know that more than anybody following the sport for so long.
Yeah.
What sponsors do you have involved so far? If you obviously want to give them a shout out.
At the current moment, I haven't really got a thing. We're still like confirming Mark's getting a few confirmed, so he is. But no, I've had a motor store in Glengormley. Have helped me out loads over the years. So I have gloves and all. Gordon Waters Dental Laboratory. We have my gum shields over since Michael Allison. He would have made Marco's gum shields and all, so he did. And then I met him through Brings as well, so he's always kitted me out with gum shields. And then Beef the Tan sunbeds, get my wee free sunbeds off Matty. But yeah. But then I think there's a few
Mark's still sorting some out. Probably don't want to jump ahead of an announcement he's sort of making on them.
There's a few more I think coming on, so there is at the minute.
But obviously it's going to be a massive help for you obviously with these sponsors, because you know I'm guessing you're going to be very active as well. Like probably
four times a year. Hopefully I can be out fighting, like, and then but I still work as well. I still work. Meantime, not making mega bucks yet.
What do you do as a normal job then?
Work for a council, so I do. So it's handy enough.
So at what stage, you know, do you have like a sort of idea in your mind when you could potentially become a full-time boxer and not have to rely on work, or is it good to have work to keep yourself grounded?
It just depends really when you want to be stable in life anyway, but it just depends with the money income and what stage of the career you're at. So obviously if you're fighting for big titles, you know what I mean, you can't be getting up every morning 6:30 to get out the door for work, and then you're training at lunch, and then you're back in a game. But it's just whatever way the career unfolds, I suppose.
Well, look, it's great to get a chat with you. Obviously, could keep you here longer, but as I say, it's a Monday, and you have to start your Monday off with a training session.
I know. Better day for it.
Finally, great to see you. Obviously, as a pro, as I say, I can remember obviously you were knee hit to a grasshopper a couple of years ago. I think COVID, somebody must have given you Miracle Grow, because after COVID you came back and you grew up.
Put on about 60 kilos with it.
But obviously, it's great to finally see you as a professional. We obviously can't wait to see you in action the 13th September, and I'm sure we'll obviously have very many chats to come over the years.
Yes. Thank you, mate.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.